Good day to doctors and my friends. We are from Group 3. Today, me, Chen Jiaqi, and my friends Shiren Day, Tan Yingxin, Ko Jialing, and Ku Caijue are going to present about our topic, which is spoilage is. What are the sources of contamination of foods and beverages? First of all, what is spoilage is? Spoilage is the yeast that grow in food, which is significant enough to change the food in a way that is noticeable to the consumer and likely to result in the consumer complaining or rejecting the food. Yeast are used in many types of food to start the fermentation to create distinctive foods and beverages. But it may also cause spoilage. This usually happens in food and beverages with high acidity, high sugar or salt contents, products that preserve with weak acids, or long-term frozen food. So, these are some of the common yeasts that can cause spoilage. In this presentation, we will discuss about the sources of contamination, mechanism of food spoilage by yeast, effect of yeast on food spoilage, and the prevention methods. Firstly, let us explain about the sources of contamination. The different stages throughout production of food and beverages are potential natural habitat for many species of yeast. Thus, we should understand the sources of contamination to control the development of undesirable species. Naturally occurring yeast population in raw materials is one of the main sources of contamination in processed food and beverages. In the production of fermented vegetables, it has been proved that the cucumber spoilage during the fermentation stage is related to the natural yeast population of the raw cucumber. The utilization of lactic and acetic acids by the yeast Isacenchia occidentalis and Pichia menchurica during aerobic metabolism can cause the increase in brine pH and the chemical reduction of the fermentation matrix. As a result of lactic acid degradation, an increase in brine pH and decrease in chemical matrix will contribute to the spoilage of fermented cucumber. While in juice industry, thermophilic, osmotolerant, acid-tolerant yeast are the common yeast present as they can grow in acidic environments with high sugar concentration. This is also present in the fruit skin, leaf, and orchard environment. For example, the yeast belong to Saccharomyces genus are the most frequent spoilage yeast in sugary food and drinks. For bread and bakery products, this initial yeast population in flour, and the addition of other ingredients might change the yeast variety and load. Since these products have intermediate moisture content, they are prone to spoilage by the yeast, such as genera Penicillium, Volimia, some Aspergillus glaucus group, Chrysonilla cytophila, and Rhizopus species, if without addition of control measures. Lastly, for the meat, the soil and species that surround the livestock, equipment and facility surfaces used for slaughter and processing, and direct contact with staff hands are the origin of the contamination.
Next, processing facilities and equipment is one of the sources of the contaminations of yeast. So we can see that normally processing zones, storage areas like at the crushers, presses, pumps, tanks, hose pipes, filters, floor, walls, and airs normally have the majorities of the microbes. So normally we can find that the Saccharomyces cerevisiae was found throughout the brewery by a specialist in the fermentation. As we know that this type of yeast is an important spoilage yeast because it exists in high concentrations of ethanol. Next is the equipment. The contaminations of the Brettanomyces depends on the species of wood used in case making due to the differences in the wood species. And the spoilage risk existed in the Brettanomyces present in the initial wine. So this type of yeast will cause the changes of the flavor of the wine, therefore cause the spoilage. So the level of the contaminations were more affected by the aging conditions. Means if the wine is more stored in the longer durations, the level of contaminations is considered high. Moreover, air and water is also one of the source of contaminations of yeast. Air, such as the oxygen, act as a carrier medium as microbes can pass through the dust or the droplets. Therefore, the amount of the yeast increase in the areas we have a high work rate, including the vinification areas. So we can see that during the process, alcoholic fermentations and the end of the malolactic fermentations was the stages that where the air was the more contaminated. So based on the article that can conclude that the main place that the yeast will transmit the fastest in is in the wine area and then proceed with the apple juice industry, meats, dairy products and then followed by the bakery. This is because due to the high concentrations of waters at the surrounding, so this cause the microbes are able to live the more and then cause the food spoilage. Not only that, vector also will cause the contaminations of the food, as the inculations of the microbes in foods and beverage primarily in the vegetable foods. So we can see that there has a few of the examples. The first example that we can see is a migratory birds, which transmits the yeast to the wine. The next is the humining birds or even the butterflies and bees transmits the variety of the yeast strains into the pineapple. The, the third one example that shown in the articles is the fruit flies, which is one of the Drosophila species, which contributes to the dissemination of yeast on the cherries and raspberries. Why will I say like this? That this is because there are millions of the bacteria in the gut of the insects. Therefore, they will transmit the microbes to the foods. However, through these articles, I found that they also have the beneficial vectors which can control the transmissions of yeast. So, such as the swats can control the transmissions of Saccharomyces cerevisiae in wine related to the environments from the vineyards to the winery.
So now I will present about how does yeast cause food spoilage in wine production. Apiculate yeast are found on grape surfaces and juices after the grapes are being crushed. They will produce ethyl acetate, which imparts a distinctive nail polish remover flavor due to the long settling periods in wine, thus causes wine spoilage. The next yeast that involved in wine production is Saccharomyces cerevisiae, which is a beneficial yeast that will ferment grapes into wine. However, nutrition imbalances in the grapes may produce off flavor and causes the wine to be spoiled. Saccharomyces cerevisiae can be a spoilage yeast by producing hydrogen sulfide due to the decarboxylation of free hydroxycinnamic acid that is released by the commercial pectinolytic enzymes that use to clarify grape juices. The third spoilage yeast are firm-forming yeast, which this kind of yeast are usually from the species of the genus Candida and Pichia. They will grow on the surface of the wine and develop pellicles. These pellicles will produce acetaldehyde, which imparts oxidized aroma like a bruised apple to the wine, thus causes the wine to be spoiled. The final yeast that involved in wine production is the Cara or Brettanomyces bursinensis. They will produce ethaphenols, which is a kind of volatile phenols in a matured wine that is an undesirable spoilage to the wine. They are not tolerant to ethanol as acid, thus they will remain viable for a long period in matured wines. The next food example is in yogurts. So usually yeast are not involved during the yogurt production, that is going to be a major cause of spoilage in yogurt. So to prevent the yogurt to be spoiled by yeast, the manufacturing of yogurts must undergo good manufacturing practice, and the condition of the yogurts must be less than 10 yeast cells per gram and is refrigerated at 5 degrees Celsius or lower temperature. There are two mechanisms that cause the yogurts to be spoiled by yeast, which the first one is contaminated ingredients may be added to the yogurt base like fruits and nuts in making flavored yogurts. The second mechanism is the yeast are originally found on the surfaces of equipment, thus causing the yogurt to be contaminated by the yeast during manufacturing. However, the spoilage of yogurt can be impacted by swelling packages, gassy appearance, yeasty flavor odor, or in severe spoilage, yeast colonies can be seen under the surface of the packaged meat.
Okay, for now, I'm going to explain about effects of yeast on food spoilage. There are a lot of effects, and the first one is the film formation. So it can be seen on spoilage of wine, kimchi, fruit juice, and brine vegetables. The microorganism can be present in low pH or high salt tolerant product. So, in solid product, it can be seen as an individual colonies or as a film of dough, dry and slimy biomass that can cause discoloration. And while for the liquid product, it can be seen as a film of biomass that covers or floats on the surface of the product. So these are the microorganisms that cause the spoilage in wine, which is Piscia membranifaciens, Piscia anomata, and Candida spp. So for the spoilage of kimchi is Piscia crida zevi. And Zycosaccharomyces barley, Zycosaccharomyces rossi is for the spoilage of fruit juice. The Baryon side Hansenii Candida famata is for the spoilage of brain vegetable. So the second effect is slime production. It can be seen in spoilage of beer. So during the fermentation of beer, it will form lactic acid and diacetyl. So the microorganism Pediococcus cerevisiae in beer, which will react with acid and turn the beer into an oily fluid called rubinous. So the glucose, maltose, fructose, and sucrose will produce lime, and the viscosity will increase. So this microorganism, P. cerevisiae, and is suggested for the growing cell of Brettanomyces strain, which can hydrolyze the slime. So the third one is discoloration. It can be seen in spoilage of fermented vegetables and cheese. There will be a brown discoloration detected on the surface of the cheese after the cheese cuts and exposed to the air. Discoloration is caused by the oxidation of triosine. So the microorganism Rayovia lipolytica is responsible for the spoilage of cheese. There is also a pink discoloration of sauerkraut. Rhodotora species is the microorganism that causes spoilage in fermented vegetables. Red discoloration in the spoilage of sample fresh spreadable cheese and yogurt. So the microorganism R. mucilaginosa is a common spoiler of a dairy product. So for the next one is turbidity. It can be seen in spoilage of alcoholic beverages and fruit juice. So the microorganism that cause alcoholic beverages to spoil is Bacteria brucellosis. So the cinnamate decarboxylase and vinyl phenol reductase activity will produce thiophenol, while cinnamate decarboxylase will produce Escherichia vardisatheticus, which is able to ferment the residual starch dextrin in a beer and produce undesirable phenolic alphavas, with the formation of a haze not knowable by fire. So the tendency of protein, starch, and tannins to aggregate in fruit juice will resulting in particles formation. And the microorganism that responsible in spoilage of apple cider is Rhizophora nua. It is caused by the production of carbon dioxide and ethanol. So the last effect is of flavor. It can be seen in spoilage of cheese and wine. So in cheese, it will producing biogenic amides when it's spoiled. So the alternation will occur through the production of ethanol, carbon dioxide, and volatile organic compounds, as well as the production of lipolytic and proteolytic enzyme, which is in the glycolysis. So the microorganism cause the spoilage of cheese is the Baryonside helicase, which is known as Candida camata. So for the spoilage of wine, the microorganism causes the ethyl phenol production. So the species of the microorganism will synthesize the volatile phenol for ethyl phenol and for ethyl alcohol. It naturally present on grapes to produce all flavors identified as hostables, leather, or ranitidine. So the microorganism caused the spoilage of wine is retinolysis brucellensis. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Next, I will present about the prevention methods of yeast spoilage. First, chilling and freezing food is able to prevent yeast spoilage. This is due to the yeast growth being slowed down at low temperature because the optimum temperature for their growth is between 20 to 30 degrees Celsius. Second, using preservatives such as calcium propionate can help to inhibit the growth of yeast, hence preventing the yeast spoilage. A proper heat treatment is also able to prevent its spoilage. According to a study conducted by Gardiner and Wilson in 1998, yeast cells will die at a temperature of 130 to 140 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about 55 to 60 degrees Celsius, and it is called the thermal death point. Therefore, heating of food can help to prevent its spoilage. Next, the control of sugar is also effective in preventing its spoilage. This is because it feeds on sugar and carbohydrates. So, controlling the amount of sugar in food, such as reducing the sugar content or using alternative sweeteners, is able to limit the growth of yeast. Lastly, the control of pH can also prevent its spoilage. Its growth ultimately at slightly acidic pH, which is between pH 4.5 to 6.5. Hence, lowering the pH is able to control the growth of yeast. For example, adding lemon juice or vinegar into the food is able to prevent its spoilage. That's all for me. Thank you.
As a conclusion, in many foods and beverages, the fermentative abilities of yeast are essential and beneficial. Since yeast are ubiquitous in nature, there are many sources of contamination. There are different mechanisms of spoilage of foods and beverages by yeast that can cause adverse effects on the surface appearance and flavor of the product. Hence, the knowledge on spoilage is important so that we know how to apply the prevention methods. So that's all from our group. Thank you.